Hi, my name is Janeicia Williams, and you are listening and watching the Community Leaders Podcast.
What's up? It's your boy LOS, and you are watching the Community Leaders Podcast. And right now, I got somebody special across from me. And you are, can you tell the people?
I am Janeicia Williams.
What's up? Welcome to the podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Can you tell the people what you do?
I, like many leaders, wear many hats, but one of my favorites is I currently serve as the Director of Community Ecosystems at Project Exploration. In that role, I lead the Austin My Shy, My Future initiative, which is a citywide initiative focused on expanding access to out-of-school time programs for young people.
That is awesome. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that the past 5 years. So ever since a little before I graduated college, I got this role. Yes.
So is that the T-shirts and sweaters I see out there people wearing?
My Shy, My Future. Oh, we're everywhere.
Okay.
But we in the Austin neighborhood call ours the Austin experience because we want to know young people to know that everywhere in Austin is a cool experience for them to enjoy.
Awesome. So what got you into that? 5 years ago, what made you say, this is what I want to do?
So 5 years ago, like I said, it was my senior year of college, and I was in the middle of the COVID turmoil and a little idle hands. I don't like to keep. I like to keep busy. So I called my director, and I was like, hey, is there something I can do for you back in Chicago? I know I'm in DC. I was at Howard University. And so I wanted to really get back in tune with my community. And so she let me start off as her executive assistant, which was what a time, right? And then she eventually transitioned me into this role working with community.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So in this role, did it start off with what you're doing now, or do you slowly advance to the position you're in now?
Yes, it was definitely an advancement. So I started off, like I said, as her assistant, helping her to manage the operations of the nonprofit, helping to do a lot of HR. And then as the My Shy, My Future initiative began to grow, because the pilot was started in Austin, she eventually was throwing me into things little by little. And next thing I know, she's like, yeah, lead this meeting for me with all 50 of these stakeholders. And I'm like, huh? Like, what do you mean just lead this meeting?
Wow.
She's like, I think you're ready. Go ahead. I'll be sitting on, but you do all the talking. And so she kind of just threw me into it. And like a baby learns to swim, I started to float first and eventually got my water wings. So it's been a great journey.
Awesome. So you live out of the what side?
I live out of the west side, which is the best
side. Let's go.
Yes.
I want to make sure you said it or knew it, because everybody else does it when they come here.
Yes.
Everybody says it.
Because we all know it's true.
Let's go. So how long have you been living on the west side?
I've been living on the west side all my life. Mm-hmm. I only left to go to college and ended up right back here. So the west side is a big part of my heart. My mom was very community oriented as I grew up as a part of the Chicago West Side Branch NAACP. She ran a lot of political campaigns. And so I've been a community child since I came out the womb.
And I want to emphasize this is Chicago West Side.
Yes.
In case people don't know where we're coming from. We're coming from Chicago.
Yes.
So I want to dive a little deep into your life. Can I do that?
Yeah, of course.
So who were you when you were 10 years old?
When I was 10, I was at South Loop Elementary, which is downtown Chicago. And I was, like I said, a part of the community in a way that I don't even think I understood at the time, but my mom kept me with her anywhere she went. They called me her shadow. And so community meetings, forums, even if she's phone banking, I'm sitting right there. She's figuring out how to put a phone in my hand. I also was a member of the youth council for the Chicago West Side Branch NAACP. And so at that time, I was probably like secretary of the council, which was pretty cool at the age of 10. At the age of 10,
you have some big responsibilities.
Start you young, yes, taking all the notes very feverishly. And so, yeah, I was getting a little bit of a taste of what it would be that I grew up to do. So,
okay. And ever since that, you've just been leading. It looks like you've been leading since 10 years old.
Yes,
Come on, somebody. Wow, that's amazing. So how was your home life during that time? Because you're busy on the go, it sounds like, with your mom.
With my mom.
How was the home life during that time?
At home with my mom. I was a very sheltered child. So if I wasn't out with my mom or, involved in, I used to do sports. I used to do basketball. I used to do oratory competitions when I was young.
Which one was your favorite sport?
Basketball, definitely. Okay. Basketball is my favorite sport. Like to dribble up and down the court.
What position did you play?
I played point guard.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's
yes.
go. Okay, so basketball was your thing back then. What else did you do as a child during that time?
Anything I could really. So I used to go to Homan Square Park, Chicago Park District for after school.
Okay.
And so any sport they had that was in season, I would do it. So I've ran track, I've done cross country, floor hockey, badminton, whatever they brought to the table. I was much to be back there dancing with the girls because I'm pretty rhythmless. But as far as sports, I got some athleticism for sure.
Okay, you're pretty good at that. So is it just you? You have some siblings or just you?
It's just me with my mom, and I have a sister that I grew up with that works with me now, actually, at Project Exploration, yes.
Okay, awesome. So that was 10 years old. Let's move up all the way to 15, 16 years old. Who were you then?
15, 16. I'm at Lane Tech. So I went to Lane Tech for high school. Big part of the Black Students Association. So shout out Miss Lawrence, kept keeping us busy after school. And really, same thing, kind of sports. This is kind of when I made my transition from sports to acting. So I kind of got into the drama class at school, and I was like, this is pretty good. And I like talking on stage and becoming new personas. And so I got my first little starring role as not Romeo or Juliet, but as Juliet's mom in the play. Yeah, it's Juliet's mom, which was star to me because I'm a star. But it was a great time doing plays, playing basketball at Lane Tech, and just kind of living life.
So what was your favorite part that you played in any play that you were in Lane Tech? What was it?
I would say in our town, I also did, I guess I'm just a motherly type figure. I also played a mom, but in our town, we actually did the play without props. And so it was a lot of like mimicking, like opening cabinets, but there was no cabinet and taking cup down. So definitely
Can you show us how do you do that?
So I would be in the kitchen. I would go in the fridge. I'd open the fridge. I'd grab some eggs, open the carton, pick an egg out, crack it, open into the bowl, the whole nine.
Okay, yes. Awesome. I would give the people a visual how you did it. A visual.
Yes, my 16-year-old self believing that I was staying in an imaginary kitchen. Okay.
So that was your favorite role?
Yes, that was pretty fun to try to.
What year was that in? What year was that in high school?
Probably, I want to say that was my junior year.
Junior year.
Yes.
Okay. But you had another role. Were you still in it in senior year?
So senior year, I tried to dive back into basketball one last time before I left. So left the acting because you couldn't do both because the seasons were the same. And so, definitely tried to get back into basketball before I graduated.
So how good, you're in Lane Tech already, but how good were you in your grades?
Oh, my grades were good enough to get me a full ride at Howard. So I'll just say it like that. Yeah.
Word. So that's high school.
That's high school.
So now at high school, it sounds like you went to Howard.
Yes, Howard University, HU.
How was that experience to go to Howard from Chicago going to Howard?
That's where things got a little interesting, I would say, for me, because growing up, like I said, people always knew me. I used to do a lot of speeches and poems and stuff here. And so I had a little, community clout. But going into Howard, states away, it was like I was starting fresh again. And so I was in this new city, this new college town with these new people who didn't know who I was. And so it was a chance to reinvent myself. And so for the first semester, it wasn't too fun. And so I probably slept a little more than I should have and kind of stayed out the scene because I was a little homesick, to be honest.
I was going to ask you, were you homesick?
Yeah, a little bit. Not to say I love, like I said, I was a sheltered child. I love being out on my own. I love, I got the freedom to do and move how I want to. But yeah, I just didn't know what it was that I wanted to do now that my mom wasn't kind of telling me every step of the way. And so really kind of getting into what I kind of knew, which was student council, politics. I went on to be the project manager for the Howard University Student Association, and then eventually programming director for UGSA, which is like the main programming body, the main kind of hosting all the events at Howard. Ended up leading that by my senior year.
It sounds like you always position yourself to lead.
I I try, and not even so much try. It just seems as though things need to get done, and who better to do them?
and I believe that you believe that because 2 weeks ago or a week ago, where we were at doing the CLF thing, you led, and at points you didn't lead, but when the question was asked and it was difficult for someone else, you jumped in right away, and you took the lead, and I found that to be very impressive. I was very impressed with everyone, but I found you to be very impressive to hear something and say, okay, I could do this a little bit better. I could get the word out a little bit better, make somebody understand a little bit better, and you did, and it was just like, okay, that was dope.
Thank you.
That was pretty cool stuff. So you went to Howard, had a great time. 4 years.
4 years.
Okay, 4 years there. Sometimes people do a little bit more or a little bit less.
Just the 4. Yes, did the 4. Did a little intramural basketball. Still couldn't let go, but not fully on the team. I crossed Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Alpha chapter. So did a little sorority time and made sure that, I made some lasting relationships from that experience.
That's awesome. So from Howard, you decided to come back to Chicago.
Yes, it wasn't an easy decision. And so I loved DC. And I was like, okay, maybe there's a way I can figure out how to stay a little longer. And so I ended up applying to a Georgetown graduate program. And so the program was like educational transformation. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be teacher policy, education policy, something. And then I got the award letter back and it was like, oh, we give you partial scholarship, but not full. And then coming off of a full scholarship, I'm like, do I want to rack up loans right now? And so I was a little uneasy. And so I went to talk to my executive director, Natasha, again. And I was like, yeah, this is what they're asking me for. And she's like, hey, we're working the same work you're doing right now with DePaul University. And the associate dean is working with us, Sheena Arete, love her to death. And she was like, yeah, all these people that you're working alongside, they're getting a degree in experience design. It's a master's. I can give that to you as another full ride and also pay you to be in the program as a graduate assistant. And I was like, alignment, ringing the bells. This is exactly, and I never knew anything about the degree beforehand, but it was exactly kind of what I needed to sharpen kind of like my project management skills, my design skills, implementation. That degree kind of took me miles further than I ever thought.
Okay, so that's about the age of what, 23, 22, 23?
Yeah, 23, 22, yes.
Yeah,
a lot of those years, because it was 3 years.
So how was your experience coming from Howard, now going to DePaul, right?
Yes.
That's a big change there.
It's a big change.
Right.
In DePaul, because like I said, it's still post-COVID, so a lot of my classes were virtual. And so it was nice to kind of be in a new space and meet some new people, but I didn't get as deep in relationships with a lot of my classmates as I could have, just because we weren't on campus for a lot of the years. And so the experience of the degree was amazing. Like the classes that we took, as far as like thinking about how to design something from the user perspective. And so a lot of times I go into spaces and someone asks a question and I can answer it. But thinking about, hey, if you're not the one with all the answers because you're not just designing for you, how do you pull the necessary information you need out of people to help make a product that fits them? Right. And so learning how to relinquish control and learning how to let others kind of lead as far as what their feelings, emotions, and sentiments are. I think that was another big part of my journey as well.
Okay, awesome. And during all this time, your mom's like, my kid, I haven't seen my kid. How was that relationship with your mom during that time?
So when I came back to Chicago, it was a little different because I wasn't living at home. I was like, oh, I've been living on my own all this time. I'm going to get an apartment. And so living outside of the home, me and my mom still found ways to work together. So my first project with the Westside Branch NAACP was a collaborative project with a lot of different organizations. So my mom worked for one of those organizations. And so it was kind of like I was her boss for a second, but not really, because my mom is always going to boss me around. And so we worked together in tandem, and really just kind of built kind of a new professional relationship, I think, as I grew older, in me learning how to not only work with her, but how to step outside of her shadow a little bit and kind of build more relationships for my own, because a lot of it was me relying on, okay, hey, you might know my mom, I'm her daughter. And so how do you go from being Deborah Williams' daughter to Janeicia Williams with Deborah's the mother, you know? And so transitioning like that has been definitely a journey these past couple years.
Awesome. So now you're the age of?
I'm freshly 26.
26. Wow, you're so young.
Yes.
You've done so much already. Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. What are you doing now for fun?
For fun.
Remember, this interview is about you.
Yes, for fun.
What do you do?
So for a while, I didn't know how to have fun, admittedly. But I learned a lot of my fun through travel, because if I'm at home, I'm working. So I'm like, okay, I have to get away to kind of rest and enjoy myself. And so I love to travel. Most recent favorite location is Medellin, Colombia.
Let's go. I've been
so
wanting
beautiful.
to go so bad.
So beautiful.
Yeah?
Food, amazing. Culture, rich. It was an amazing experience.
So question.
Yes.
How far does the dollar go?
Pretty far. The markets, I think you get a good bang for your buck in Colombia, except certain places, because they know tourists come, it's regular prices.
Yeah.
But when you're really, like, we were kind of countryside, it was great.
So you said like an Airbnb or something?
Yes, did an Airbnb.
Okay.
Yes.
Did any tours?
Yes, we did a food tour of the. Now I feel like I'm being quizzed. It was a. So they build all their houses up a hill, and so there's colorful hills and houses all the way up. Something with the number 13, and I cannot remember the word that goes with it, but it was amazing just to see kind of how they structured the homes. Just they cooked us food on site, empanadas on site. It was great to see. It was a lot of Afro-Colombian culture, and so there were people dancing and showing art and music, and it was incredible.
I want to go.
You should.
I want to go.
Soon.
Yeah. But this, yeah. In 2025, maybe I got to go hurry up and do it now.
Yes.
So that experience, did it do something to you? Did it change you in any kind of way of seeing a different culture?
Yes, I think every time I leave the United States, I am opened up into kind of the thing that I say I struggle with, which is like, what's the other side of life outside of work? And I think a lot of cultures indulge in life a lot more than we do here. And so it's nice to be amongst people who aren't running against the grain all the time, or so stressed out, or moving. It's very slower paced outside of the United States, and I love that.
Yeah, my favorite place in the world is Spain, and everything's just laid back and chill, and they do fiesta during the day where they go home and eat and clean their house or sleep, whatever, and then they come back and they finish work.
Yeah,
until like 2:00 in the morning. And I just love it. It's really laid back. It's actually where I'm going to retire. I'll be retiring in 5 years, and I'll be going to Spain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, meet you there.
Yeah.
In 5 years.
Come on by. It's probably not going to be in Barcelona, because Barcelona, I love to go to Barcelona, but Barcelona is more of like a tourist attraction, kind of like a Walt Disney World for adults. So it'll probably be southern Spain.
Okay.
Where it's more tropical and more chill, laid back.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Top of a mountain somewhere. I just want to be at the top of a mountain, and when I see goats by goats in the ocean, I'm good.
That's all you need.
I'll be happy.
Awesome.
So what are you planning to do now for the next 5 years? What is your goal now? You accomplished so much already.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You've been leading since 10 years old. And I just said 10. It might be a little sooner than that. You know what I'm saying? So what are your goals now for the next 5 years?
It's funny you ask, because in CLF, we definitely have to create 5-year plans. And so my 5 years, I'm pretty religious. And so I don't like to jump ahead of God and what he may have that might be greater than what I can even imagine. So what I'm doing in the next 5 years is skill building. Something which may not seem like it right now that I haven't been great at is networking, right? How do you build genuine, lasting relationships with people that aren't solely professional? And so I've been trying to do a lot more networking and building a network around me of people that are genuine and authentic, and really kind of supportive in a way that's not just, hey, I'll take your call or email, but how are you introducing me to spaces where I may not already be in? And so taking care with that, taking care with trying to increase my social media presence. So I am if you know me, you know me. If I talk to you, you know what I got going on. But I'm not big on sharing. I don't talk about my fellow, she told me the other day, she was like, you have this like humility about you that makes you not share the things that you should be so excited to share. And so trying to step into the light a little more and talking more about what I do and who I am, just not even just for the sake of getting additional kind of business cred, but for the sake of who knows what part of my story might inspire someone else to do something different.
You mentioned social media presence, and I think about Brett.
Yes.
Automatically I think about Brett. I'm like, you were in that class with Brett. You should.
Yes.
Your stuff should be out.
So Brett is how I got my professional Instagram page, because I'm like, on my personal, I don't really like to share because those are college friends, high school friends. So now I have a page strictly for sharing what I'm doing in the world, how I'm moving, things like this scenario right here. So I have somewhere to put it where it feels a little more comfortable, like this is the audience I'm trying to reach.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So how was your experience in CLF? Places you've been to, things you've been taught.
CLF has been transformational in a way that you kind of hear my story and you think, oh, she's kind of seen a lot, done a lot. But CLF kind of pushed that envelope for me, especially as far as like how I think about the world and how I think about change and how I think about challenging power dynamics and how I think about organizing. It's really been a process of relearning the things that I thought I knew. So I thought I knew how to storytelling and share. But then we get workshops from Public Narrative and they're telling us, hey, these are the things that the media is looking for. These are the ways that you can encapsulate your story and make it concise and make it powerful. Things around, like I said, challenging power and how power doesn't concede without certain things. And so power mapping was a big workshop that I really enjoyed. And who do you have access to and who do you need to position to change the things you're looking to change? And so between meeting all the executive directors, the CEOs, the philanthropists, just everything has been a new experience that's opened my eyes to the fact that the world is so large and there's so many ways we can kind of take this work.
That's awesome. So how do you plan to change for the good the West Side?
I plan to change the West Side starting with our young people. Youth is a huge passion of mine. A lot of the work that I do, planning events, hosting the meetings around My Shine, My Future, the work I do with the Chicago West Side Branch and NAACP, everything that is my center is young people. If you're not talking young people, you're not talking to Janeicia Williams. And so it's really been a process of getting to know the young people that I work with personally, holding events for young people. I've learned a lot about their experience today versus what it may have been like when I was growing up. And a lot of young people are not sheltered by parents anymore, but kind of sheltering themselves. They're staying at home more, they're on their phones more. And so a lot of what I do is to try to kind of broaden their worldview. And so I do an annual conference, which is kind of like a passion project of mine through the West Side Branch NAACP called West Side Youth Empowerment Conference. So just for West Side kids, because we don't get enough shine, we don't get enough time. And so I take 100 high schoolers downtown Chicago for overnight experience. We stay at 5-star hotels. We get ride passes. We take them to Navy Pier. We do a full.
I'm from the West Side.
Yeah, you from the West Side?
I'm from the West Side.
How young?
Northwest, a little bit
how
Northwest.
young are you?
Me? I'm 13.
13-ish, right? Plus a couple more 13s, right?
Right.
Yeah, so they get a full experience of personal leadership development training, meeting other young people who are in the space, dinner, closing banquets, all these things just to kind of, so they can go back home to their community set box and say, hey, how do I get back to another hotel? How do I position myself to kind of put myself in these spaces when I'm an adult or when I kind of move forward in my career. So
that's awesome. I love the work that you're doing. That is awesome. If I can help it any way, I will.
Thank you.
I just ask. So, Janeicia, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
I talk about time a lot because I am always feeling like I'm running out of it. And so my superpower would be to teleport wherever it is I need to be at any given moment. And not just work wise, but personally, I have a lot of friends who live all across the country. And so, like I said, I love to travel. So being able to drop into New York or drop into Atlanta or California would be the skill I'd like. So I can drop in over there and come back for that meeting at 3 and then drive back to where I want to actually be.
That's awesome. I would like that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Janeicia, I want to thank you for coming down to the Community Leaders podcast. It was a blast.
Yes. Great time. Great conversation.